It happened on a quiet afternoon that no one could have predicted. A silver luxury car stood on the side of a busy road, its hood slightly lifted, steam curling into the sky. Inside the car sat Emily, the glowing but heavily pregnant wife of billionaire businessman Jonathan Reed. She was on her way back from her doctor's appointment, humming softly to her unborn child when the unexpected struck. One sharp turn, a sudden jolt, and the car sputtered. Emily pulled over quickly, placing a protective hand on her belly. She felt nervous. Her husband had warned her never to drive alone, especially this far from their estate, but she had insisted she'd be fine. As Emily stepped out, trying to wave down help, she felt a sudden wave of dizziness. Her hands clutched her stomach. The baby kicked hard, almost as if sensing her distress. Her vision blurred. She whispered, "Please, not now." That was when a young boy appeared. His name was Malik, a 12-year-old boy from the nearby neighborhood. His shoes were worn, the soles uneven, and his shirt was 2 sizes too big. He was on his way back from running an errand for his grandmother when he spotted the woman. Unlike most who simply drove past, Malik ran. "Ma'am, are you okay?" he asked breathlessly. Emily swayed, her face pale. I think something's wrong. My baby." Panic filled Malik's chest. He didn't know much about pregnancy, but he knew enough to realize she needed help immediately. Without hesitation, he shouted for passers-by, but cars whizzed by. Indifferent. "I'll get you help," he promised. The boy grabbed his cracked phone and dialed emergency services, his voice trembling but determined as he gave directions. Then, noticing Emily clutching her stomach tightly, he gently held her hand. "You're not alone. I'll stay with you until help comes." Emily looked at him, tears forming. In that moment, a bond formed, a desperate mother, to be and a brave child with nothing but courage in his heart. When Jonathan Reed arrived at the hospital after receiving the terrifying call, he was met with chaos. His wife had been rushed into emergency care. But what caught his attention was the small boy sitting quietly in the waiting area, clothes dusty, hands trembling. "Are you the one who helped my wife?" Jonathan asked, his voice sharper than intended. Malik nodded, swallowing hard. "Yes, sir. She needed help. I stayed with her." Jonathan stared at him, taken aback. The boy had no parent in sight, no adult hovering over him. Just him, alone. Moments later, the doctor came out. "Your wife and baby are stable." But if this young man hadn't acted so quickly, things could have turned out very differently. Jonathan froze. A wave of relief washed over him, followed by something he hadn't felt in years: humility. He turned to Malik and whispered, "Thank you." 2 days later, Jonathan and Emily invited Malik to their estate. They wanted to reward him, to show gratitude. Their mansion towered over him like a castle, its marble floors shining, its halls echoing wealth. Malik walked nervously, clutching the hem of his shirt. At dinner, Emily asked gently, "Tell us about yourself, Malik. Do you live with your parents?" Malik hesitated, then shook his head. "My mom, she passed away last year. My dad left a long time ago. It's just me and my grandma now." Emily's eyes softened. "And school?" Malik looked down. "I go when I can. Sometimes I help grandma sell things on the street. She's sick, so I try to do my best." Silence filled the grand dining room. Jonathan's fork clattered softly against his plate. For a man who had everything, hearing this boy's reality was like a punch to the chest. Finally, Jonathan said, "Malik, you saved my family. I want to do something for you. Anything. Just name it." Malik's eyes widened. This was the moment most kids would ask for: toys, gadgets, maybe money. Jonathan braced himself for something big, but Malik looked at Emily's belly, then back at Jonathan. He whispered, "Can you just promise me one thing? Be there for your baby. Always. Don't ever leave like my dad did." Jonathan froze. He had expected requests for riches, not this. He felt a lump rise in his throat. His entire empire suddenly felt small compared to the words of this boy. That night, Jonathan couldn't sleep. He walked into the nursery they had prepared for the baby. The crib stood ready, soft blankets folded neatly. Emily's words echoed in his mind. This boy has no one but his grandmother. The billionaire sat in silence, his own childhood memories resurfacing. He too had grown up without a father, raised by a mother who worked day and night to give him everything. He had sworn never to become like the man who abandoned him. Yet in his pursuit of wealth, Jonathan realized he had almost done the same, burying himself in business while his wife carried the weight of their child alone. Malik's wish had shaken him awake. In the following weeks, Jonathan kept in touch with Malik and his grandmother. He visited their small home, a cramped apartment with peeling paint and flickering lights. Jonathan offered to move them somewhere better, but Malik's grandmother refused at first. "All we need is dignity," she said softly. "Not handouts." But Jonathan insisted. He enrolled Malik in one of the best schools in the city, ensured his grandmother received medical care, and promised Malik that no matter what, he'd always have someone to call family. At the same time, Jonathan began to slow down in his business life. He spent mornings with Emily, attended every doctor's visit, and even learned how to set up a crib himself. Malik's words had become his mantra: "Be there for your baby." 2 months later, the day came when Emily gave birth. A healthy baby girl, crying loudly, filling the room with life. Jonathan wept as he held her, not caring about anything else in the world. And there, just outside the hospital room, stood Malik, grinning wide, holding a small stuffed toy he had saved money to buy. He handed it to the baby gently. "For her," he whispered. Emily hugged him tightly. Jonathan placed a hand on his shoulder. "Your family now, Malik?" "Always." But challenges weren't over. Jonathan's business rivals mocked his sudden change of priorities. "The billionaire's gone soft," they whispered. Some deals slipped away. Investors grew restless. For a while, Jonathan questioned himself. Had he done the right thing? Then one evening, as he returned home, he saw Malik tutoring younger kids from his neighborhood, teaching them what he learned at his new school. Jonathan stood silently, watching the boy who had once saved his family, now giving back to others. That's when he realized this was true wealth. Not the millions in his bank account, but the lives he could touch, the love he could nurture. 2 years later, Malik would stand tall, not just as the boy who once saved a pregnant woman, but as a young man mentored by a family that chose love over pride. And Jonathan, once speechless at a simple wish, never forgot the lesson: being there matters more than being rich.